You're listening to a National Screen Institute podcast, direct from Canada's National Training School for writers, directors and producers in film, television and digital media.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Binning, reporting for the National Screen Institute. Through our podcasts, we hope you'll learn more about the film, TV and digital media industries. You can subscribe for free to our weekly podcast using iTunes, and there are more great video and audio interviews at nsi-canada.ca. If you want to comment on this podcast, visit our website or email podcast@nsi-canada.ca or call NSI toll-free at 1-800-952-9307 and leave a message on our podcast hotline. Just about everyone out there has heard of the hit CTV sitcom Corner Gas, which has become the most successful series in Canadian history. It's watched weekly by over 1 million viewers, and its 6th and final season is being shot this year. I spoke with Brent Butt, the creator, star, and executive producer of the series, for a look back on the show's origins and why he was determined from the beginning to maintain creative control over the series.
You're a longtime stand-up comic who suddenly wound up with a TV show. Can you tell me a bit about the process of getting there?
I had been a stand-up comic for about 15 years prior to Corner Gas, and then David Story, who's a director that I know and had worked with before, he and I were having coffee, and he said he had met with the network, and they were interested in story ideas, and they were kind of interested in working with me and with him, and asked me if I had any ideas. I happened to have an idea that I had written 2 years before, because I really didn't do anything, with it. I just wrote it down and never pursued it, because I wasn't really pursuing life in a sitcom. I wasn't, looking to do the sitcom thing. I was just happy being a stand-up. Late nights, free drinks, right? But I had this written down. It was just kind of a rough one-page. He took that idea to the network and talked to them about it. They were intrigued. We talked some more, and they liked the idea enough that we set up a formal meeting and kind of went from there.
Going into it, did you have some concerns? Like, what does a stand-up comic know about TV? How am I going to do this?
Not overly, because, historically, if you look at the top-rated sitcoms, they'd kind of been driven by a stand-up comic. So prior to me coming along, there was, a strong track record of that. If you look at Seinfeld or Cosby or Ray Romano or, it goes all the way back to, the Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason in the 50s, right? This was nothing new. It's not like I was blazing a trail. And it really wasn't falling on my lap to finance the show or make sure that we have the proper tax credits or any of those things. We were going to be teaming up with an executive producer that had that skill set and that background. So really it came down to, just me being in charge of the funny. And I had done enough television. I had produced some one-offs. It's not like I was completely coming out of the dirt farmer's field.
So I guess that was at the point where Virginia Thompson and Verite Films came in terms of taking care of the business side?
Yeah. David and I were, I made it clear to the network that I was interested in doing the show, but only if I could be in charge of the creative, in charge of what's funny. They said, okay. Somebody else will have to be in charge of the money, and you'll have to partner up with somebody in Saskatchewan. So they gave us a list of producers that they would be happy with us working with, and said, go interview these people, see if there's any of them you think you might like to work with. One of the names on the list was Virginia Thompson, and David and I went, and we met with about 6 other producers. And but Virginia was the one that we really felt we had a good rapport with. She was the one who'd kind of made herself most familiar with the material. I was surprised that some of the people hadn't really made themselves familiar with the material. I thought that was strange. Somebody's bringing essentially an approved sitcom to your production company. And there were a couple that were just kind of obviously hadn't read the material.
Television is notorious for a long list of people putting their hands in and having their comment and thoughts. From the beginning, were you very insistent that, this has to be done the way I want it to be done?
Basically I put it in these terms. I said, I've done TV shows before where I've had accountants weighing in on the script and saying, I think it would be funnier if such and such. I don't want to be in that situation again. because I don't go to the accountants and say, here, I think you're filing these taxes wrong. Let's all do what we're good at. And the only reason that you're talking to me at all is because I kind of have a track record of being humorous. There's no other reason to be talking to me. I'm not handsome. I don't run fast. I don't have a lot of money so I can bankroll this thing. There's no reason. I don't know how many vans we need. What kind of lights should we use? I bring nothing else to the table. So if I'm not going to be in charge of the funny and make the final decisions on how a joke gets edited or how a script gets written or like those things, then why am I here? Because basically, I said, I've been in a situation before where I've seen stuff get made, stuff that I had written, get taken, and it doesn't take much to make something unfunny, especially in the editing process. But throughout the stage, there's ways you can shoot something where you reveal things too early and, you ruin the punchlines of things. The timing can be off. Comedy's all timing. So I said, I don't want to be in a situation where I do something that I think is funny, and then I watch it get made by somebody else, and it's not funny, because I can't afford to be thought of as unfunny. The only asset I have in this life is there's a group of people around the country who see that if I'm coming to town to do a show, they say, oh, that guy's kind of funny, and they'll buy a ticket and come see me. That's the only asset I have. Mm-hmm. And I can bomb in front of 300 people on any given night and, try and get them again tomorrow. But I can't bomb in front of 500,000 people a week. It won't take long before the whole country says, well, that guy's not funny. I just can't afford this. It's not like I'm being demanding or anything. I just can't afford to be on a TV show that isn't funny.
That was Brent Butt, one of Canada's most successful comedians and the creator, star, writer, and exec producer of the hit CTV sitcom Corner Gas. Look for part 2 of my interview with Brent on the NSI website, where he discusses the secret to a successful comedy series.
You've been listening to a National Screen Institute podcast, direct from Canada's National Training School for Writers, Directors and Producers in Film, Television and Digital Media.